And we are live. I'm James Van Oswald. This is Car Con Carne, episode 686. And before I bring on tonight's guest, I do want to talk about things that are coming up on Car Con Carne. Tomorrow night, Friday night, Katie Reif, she is a senior writer at the AV Club. And over Thanksgiving weekend, she has curated the least family-friendly movie to run in midnight showings at the Music Box Theater, Suicide Club. It's a Japanese movie, the first 5 minutes of which will leave you scarred for life. It's fantastic. We're going to talk about that and other movie stuff. That's tomorrow. Now, on Sunday, Sal Abenanti joins me back in the car. Now, by day, Sal is the agent for iconic comic book artists Alex Ross and Bill Sienkiewicz. By night, he's also an accomplished graphic novelist. He's going to talk about his new Kickstarter project, Atomica, God is Red Omnibus. He's already crushed his goal, so I'm not sure what we can accomplish, but whatever we accomplish will be gravy. But we're recording at Johnny's Beef in Elmwood Park, so it's more like au jus rather than gravy. So I mentioned that this is episode 686, and the value of truth and money are explored, if not eviscerated, in the engaging, slow-burning new movie, The Last Days of Capitalism. In a very lean, focused way, the movie looks at white privilege, social class disparity, prostitution, and the fabric of social and sexual relationships. Joining me tonight to talk about The Last Days of Capitalism are writer, director Adam Mervis, lead actor Mike Faiola, and lead actress Sarah Rose Harper. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Nice to see you all. This movie, man, I'll tell you, I after watching it, I found myself hating money. I pretty much hated the male character played by Mike Faiola, which means job well done. And I also found myself rewinding the last 15 minutes, which is a blessed thing with VOD movies, for sure. Let's just get right into this movie.
Thank you for that review, by the way, James. That was very nice.
Was that a review?
Or critique. Or,
summary?
Yeah.
So, Adam, let's start with you. Let's talk about this story. It's a slow-burning, darkly cynical cat and mouse kind of story. What sparked this idea for you?
What sparked this idea? You know, I had come off a big film called 21 Bridges, a crime thriller that I had made, and in a way had gotten the full Hollywood experience from a screenwriting perspective, if you know what that means, or, you know, it was not so kind to the artistic value of it, you know? And I came in with my friend Kenny, who's a producer on this film, and I told Kenny one day, I just want to do something kind of old school way we would do it. I don't want to ask anybody to do it, and I want it to be about making a really good movie and really about performance. And I've got very little money, so how can we do this? And he said, well, what do you have in mind? And I said, well, I've got I'd written this off-Broadway play that I hadn't got a chance to put up yet because of 21 Bridges. And I said, well, I've got this little play. It's a two-hander, and we could do it in a Vegas penthouse. And sort of away we went. If you want to go one layer deeper as to why I wrote the play, you know, I guess I will tell the story. I had an encounter at a bar in Las Vegas. Well, I was having a lovely conversation when you meet somebody and you sort of are, I don't know, whatever it is, you're falling in love in 10 minutes or, you know, whatever. You meet a very attractive, wonderful person. And I was with a group of friends, and a friend leaned over to me and goes, she's a hooker. And I turned to him and turned back to this woman, and everything kind of changed, obviously. And she was, I was not, you know, I had lived in New York and LA, so I was not some shrinking violet, like unable to identify perhaps someone who was working. And it changed on me in a second, and it got really sad. Obviously, our conversation ended there. And I kind of went back. I had been thinking about a lot of different subjects and a lot of different things that were going on in this country. And I thought, what if I started with her and the guy and went from there. And that's how I wrote the play.
So you used a term that maybe not common knowledge, a two-hander, a story told with only two characters. And on that note, for this story to work, the casting really had to be right. With only two characters, you can't mess that up. The nuances, the small details, these are things that were carried on the backs of Sarah and Mike. I guess for all three of you, let's talk about the casting process.
Sure. I guess I'll start, and then they can interject with the casting process as an actor, which I've been through, is usually just terrifying. But for me, exactly. I said to Kenny right away, I said, we have to find the best two actors for this movie because it rests on them. There's no exploding helicopter in the jungle. There's no Tyrannosaurus Rex CGI'd in, like, this is it. And so we saw a lot of actors in LA, a lot of actors. And the two things I think stuck out for me in the process, and then you guys jump in, but with Sarah and Mike, we had a chemistry read with them, and kind of almost immediately, for whatever the chemistry, and you see it on film, the chemistry was there right away. There was a dynamic that was very interesting. I can't quite articulate what it is. Maybe Mike or Sarah could do a better job of it, but whatever it is between them, there's a dynamic that fit and worked. On an individual scale, both of them came out of the theater, which I think was very important for me as far as being able to handle this film. We shot it in 10 days. You're putting about 9 pages of dialogue in your head a day. And I knew I wanted to shoot it pretty loose, let the actors kind of move where they wanted to move and do that. And even some great film actors couldn't handle that. And, in meeting both of them, I didn't have any kind of hesitation about them being able to handle that assignment, which was grueling. I'm sure they'll talk about it, but yeah. What was the casting process? I know, Sarah and Mike, what was it like for you guys?
Well, so I got there, talking about the chemistry read, I got there, I could hear Mike in there with another actor, and I was like, shit, they're both really good. And it was a cocaine scene, so there was some singing involved, and I remember she had a great voice, and I was like, I'm never gonna get cast, I have a terrible voice, and this girl wants to be a singer, like it's done, but whatever, I'm here, so I'll just be the person who can't sing really well at all, and just go for it. And then I got into the room. The chemistry, I don't know if I can explain it. It just, Mike's a guy lucked out. He's an insanely talented actor. On my half, it just was so easy working off of him because he's just there. And giving, even in an audition. And we did the scene. It was really fun. I think we probably did it a few times. And I remember thinking people are going to want to run out of this building hearing us sing the national anthem or the America the Beautiful. I forget what song did
I think it was America the Beautiful.
America the Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I left, and then I think I left something in the audition room. I had to come back. And I think I saw Mike rehearsing with the actor who was reading after me. And I was like, well, one of those two ladies is probably gonna get it. Good luck, Mike. You're gonna be it. And look forward to watching you guys on the screen. And then, lo and behold, I got it. So for me, that was the experience.
Mike, did you feel the chemistry right away?
Yeah, I think my pheromones lured Sarah in just right off the bat and just paved the way for a really successful audition for both of us. No, I knew getting the sides and the way they were formatted, it was going to be a slightly different audition process just because it was really densely written. There was a lot of words. And it was a longer form audition, which is not usually the case. You don't, generally speaking, have things you can really sink your teeth into and really allow yourself to sort of get swept away into the scene because it's over in a page and a half or 2 pages. But here, I think we had 2 scenes, each of which was close to 5 pages. So I went in feeling quite confident because I knew I could handle the dialogue. And I know, like Adam alluded to, a lot of actors in Los Angeles who are, used to working in film or television might be learning 2 pages in a day. And so we really got to just sort of play around and explore and experiment in the audition, which made it like a lovely experience in and of itself. Whether or not it led to the job, like you're in a room with some other creative people who are enthusiastic about a project, and we just got to like riff off of each other, and it was mutually respectful, amongst all parties. And so that was a really pleasant experience. Which generally speaking is not, I got a sense of the actors really being honored and valued and respected. And that's, I won't say it's a rarity, but it's not always the case. And then with regards to Sarah, I don't know that my reps had ever reached out to Adam and his team, but when I initially got the offer for the job, I said, I told my reps I wasn't going to do it unless Sarah was the person that was cast. And so fortunately, Adam had the same kind of intuition that I did, that it would probably work best between she and I. And then, that's sort of how it unfolded.
Yeah, it carries the movie. And Sarah brought it up. I'm going to ask a question. It's about how the sausage is made, basically. There's a scene where you snort cocaine in this movie. How do you fake snort cocaine? Like, are you putting something in your nose? How does that work?
Yeah, sugar, powdered
Really?
sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of it, lots of powdered sugar. And you're just snorting it line after line.
They could probably talk about it a lot more, because they probably did about 10 lines of powdered sugar in that scene over the course of a night,
Amazing.
And yeah.
So this movie in general, this is storytelling done simple. Vegas is the general location, but these two leads are in the same general space for the entire movie. I think there are little things that are done throughout the movie to make the space feel less confining and make it feel more interesting. There's one scene, going back to the cocaine binge, where Sarah goes kind of moving around the top of the couch. I mean, there are ways to make each scene more visually interesting, so it's not just them on the bed or them standing up in the kitchen. That seems like a conscious decision, Adam.
Totally. I mean, I think that's what we were fighting with the Penthouse of, okay, how do I not make you bored out of your mind for 85 minutes? And it was a constant battle. We had a great cinematographer, Bethany, and, we would sort of talk about what was the most visually interesting. I think I can say this, but I don't think there's 2 scenes in the same location that we, the bedroom, obviously, and that we film it much different. Like, we were very conscious to film the bedroom in a different way each time. And even that, the scene that takes place in the bathroom now, which is Mike has just gotten sick, and Sarah kind of gives him a speech. That was originally supposed to be like on a couch in the living room. And actually it was Bethany's idea to move it to the bathroom, where we had nothing set. We had never seen the bathroom, and yeah, it was a big penthouse, but to keep it dynamic was a challenge. And then for the 2 actors, again, using their theater background, we would come in and kind of walk through the scene and block it out in a way that I hope they could maybe tell you allowed for a little bit more creativity and playfulness. And like in the cocaine scene, kind of getting Sarah to really move around the room. That's a really hard scene to shoot, just from an acting perspective of they're having to maintain a state in acting, what you would call state, where they're not, they're obviously not high on cocaine that I know of. And they, to maintain that state and do dialogue and do blocking, it was extremely challenging, and it was a really tough scene to shoot from an acting perspective. I think they could tell you better, but it was pretty tough.
That actually just reminded me of the cocaine scene, because I just had trouble with that scene for some reason. But I'm realizing now, I just made the connection that the way we rehearsed and the way we shot, it was like all like in one, and we kind of do like the whole thing many times. And and because we, each scene is like more than a few pages long, at least, like as Mike said earlier, I think what was scary about the cocaine scene for me was because I had to sort of figure out what my movement was in there without having a lot to say and without being distracting and, being natural. And I can't rely on the fact that in other films we might do like half a page and then stop, and just do that part of it over and over again. It was like I had to do the whole arc of the scene. And so that, as a stage actor, you get used to rehearsing the scene or the play rather, and you perform it, and each night it's a little different. It is what it is, and it's within the context of the whole thing. So this was like two ends of the spectrum sort of like meeting in the middle, and that was for me, I think, part of why I found that scene really hard. And it's funny because it's a scene I think that comes off really well in the movie. And I was like the one scene where I, as an actor, was like, I like was in my head, and it just took me a while to get there. But yeah, no, the way we rehearsed it day to day before shooting was really fun and like nerve wracking, because you kind of have to carry more than you would as an actor on any other project.
And Adam, giving the actors that kind of flexibility, I realize it's part of scrappy filmmaking, doing this in 10 days, but giving them the flexibility to kind of explore what they're doing, it makes it all seem more authentic when it comes out on the other end. I mean, going back to the audition with Sarah, where she's kind of singing off key, it's stuff like that. You want to believe that these are real people in this situation. You want to stay in that frame of mind as you're watching.
Yeah, that's a really good point, James. And I think that Adam and the DP he mentioned earlier is Bethany Michalski. Is that how you pronounce her last name, Sarah? Michalski.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Bethany Michalski. I mean, she deserves no like small credit for, assisting Adam and really making this visually compelling. But Adam and Bethany would largely allow, I think, at the beginning of rehearsing a scene and putting the blocking together, and blockings where you sort of map out the movements for the actors and the camera so that everything can align and you can get something that's, watchable. I think sort of the organic way we would come into the room and be sitting with one another prior to blocking the scene or rehearsing the scene, they would kind of use that as the benchmark and the foundation from which to build the rest of it. So it always came from an authentic place. There were very few times in like such a confined space, which is really astounding, where I felt totally awkward and, kind of like I was put in a position physically to perform that I wouldn't be comfortable performing in, kind of like my normal day-to-day life. It always felt pretty true to like just the way people behave and carry themselves. So yeah, Adam, I think gets a lot of credit for that.
So again, the movie, it's on VOD right now. It's The Last Days of Capitalism. Talking about that location, that penthouse sure looked badass to me. Was it legitimately like this awesome space? Because it looked gorgeous.
It was big. It was gorgeous. I think, if we show you how the sausage is made, we juiced the angles. We kind of moved stuff around to, it was gorgeous. I don't know if it was as gorgeous as we portrayed it. Perhaps if we hadn't snuck into the hotel, I would say the hotel should give us some sponsorship. But
I love that.
we snuck in to shoot it, so maybe I wouldn't ask them to,
That's
fantastic.
Again, scrappy filmmaking.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
And I'm asking a lot of questions about the making of it, because one of the challenges in talking about this movie is tap dancing around plot points and spoilers. I have to be really careful. So as I tap dance around it, is it safe enough, conservative enough to say that at least one of the characters is playing a long game here?
You could ask them. I don't, one of the things I tried really hard to do is look for moments where both these characters get lost in the games they're both playing, in the roles they're both playing. They're both up there kind of playing different people at different times for different reasons, and sure, what happens at the end, I think it only works if you believe that Sarah, that there's a chance that she does fall in love, that it all could work, and I kind of sort of love the idea, again, going back to kind of a bigger Hollywood movie that I made, where you kind of knew the movie, what's going to happen, the beats. You go into certain Hollywood movies I've written where you sort of know the beats. And in this, I really like the idea of not knowing the beats, and you being about halfway through the movie and being like, I don't know how this is ending. Like, what's happening
Totally.
here? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to fall in love and go away? Are they going to what's going to happen? Like, I don't know. So I don't know. Did you guys feel?
I think to answer your question, James, is whether anybody knew that there was a long game. I think I can answer for Sarah and I both probably, in that we didn't, and that was actually really beneficial. We didn't know whether that was the case, and that was really beneficial to the overall outcome of the movie, largely due to what Adam was mentioning about not being totally sure where everybody stands from moment to moment, and really toggling between what's authentic and what's inauthentic. And so for me, you mentioned a lot of themes at the top of the show about the movie and capitalism and prostitution and money and greed, et cetera. I always looked at this as a metaphor between how two people, slowly become more and more vulnerable and authentic with one another, and occasionally allow their mask down and let their guard down and do reveal who they are, only to put the mask right back up and continue the act that they were playing before they had revealed themselves. And so it's largely about, is this person seeing me for who I am and accepting me right now? Or is this person just shining me along? And so for me, that sort of unknowing really played in thematically to the movie well.
There is that sense, and Adam mentioned it, where as you're watching, you don't know how it's going to end up. It's interesting, and everything just feels close. This relationship feels close. You're watching, you're in this relationship with these two, and you can't pull back and see where this is going to go, because it's just, everything feels so immediate. And I was surprised by the ending. And like I said at the beginning, I had to rewind. I had to do some tracing to figure out how we got there, or to help me or further my understanding. It was a great ending. It was a mic drop ending, really.
Thank you. Yeah, but I think we tried hard not to tip it. In the edit with my editor David Al, we would kind of constantly be weighing, like, if you saw this from the character, would that, does it tip it too far? Do we kind of know what's going on? And yeah, I think, for me, this is what Mike hit on also, is the theme of these two people. In a way, if they could just stay up in this penthouse and stay in their most vulnerable parts, I think maybe both of them want that, in a way, to be able to drop the trauma and the other identity and the self that they're carrying. And they're both looking for that in a way up there. And they can't really drop it, as we sometimes can't really drop it in life. So
Yeah, and Mike said it. I mean, that theme of what is real, what is the truth, how important are the truth and reality, that swirls around from the very beginning. The question of real names, what does the man do for a living? I mean, we just don't know, and it's just this gamesmanship that goes on is fascinating, and it really is an expression of stuff that happens in everyday conversations and relationships.
Mhm.
And it's just writ large with these two in your face for 90 minutes. It was a cool exploration.
thank you, man.
So, all right, the movie, it's out now. It's on VOD. It's a really, for a two-hander, it's a fast moving movie. It's totally compelling and engaging. I love it. And in a world where we're all oversaturated with big budget stuff, this just, I'm going to use the word again, it feels authentic. And it's a really great way to spend time in front of your computer screen, TV, whatever. I love the work you all did on this.
Oh,
Thank
thanks
you so much, James. Yeah, I know I'm really proud of it, and it feels like for me, sort of I wanted to set out to make some of the films that I enjoyed, like Sex, Lies, and Videotape, or the Before Midnight series, or Medicine for Melancholy. And it's just, I'm really proud of these two guys and the work they put in, and the reviews they're getting. So it's been great.
All right. Well, I hope that, we're recording this on the 18th of November. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, family, friends, loved ones, however you choose to spend it. And like I said, I recommend the movie, and I can't wait to see what you all do next.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
much.
And